Hey friends, this is your Tuesday ELA guided video lesson. And remember yesterday we started talking about the different structures of a story, the different elements of a story. We talked about the characters, the setting, the problem, the solution, the beginning, middle, and end. And we read Paper Bag Princess together with that funny ending with Prince Ronald. So hopefully you did fantastic on that AR quiz. If you haven't taken it yet, go do that, get your points. So today we're going to kind of review those, but instead of reading a whole story together, we're going to look at a little passage together and see if we can answer together the beginning, middle, and end on that. All right, so let's hop right to it. Again, April 28th, Tuesday, ELA guided video, just making sure you're in the right place. Not too long of a lesson today. So let's just review really quickly. So of course the characters, that's the who or the what in the story, the people or the animals or the things in a story. And remember, we're focusing on fiction text this week. And then the setting is where and when the story takes place. And then the problem is kind of what goes wrong, what happened. Our problem yesterday was the dragon destroyed the castle and took Prince Ronald. So the challenge to the characters in the story, our problem, and remember that new word that we learned for problem was conflict. Problem and conflict mean the same thing. And then the solution is how the problem is fixed or how the problem is solved. Princess Elizabeth went through all those steps to trick the dragon and then get up to Prince Ronald. So she fixed the problem, solved the problem, got to him, but then decided he was a bum and didn't need him anyways. So that's our character setting, problem, and solution. And then let's quickly review the beginning, middle, and end. This is going to be more what we focus on today is the beginning, middle, and end of the story. So in the beginning is when the author usually just kind of gets everything started, sets up the stage for the story. They tell how the story starts. We're introduced to our characters and our settings. And remember, sometimes we learn our problem in the beginning, but usually it's not until more of the middle, but sometimes we do. So typically just beginning characters and setting in the beginning, and then the problem and the different details of the problem and how we're going to solve it in the middle. And then at the end, we get our final resolution for the problem, how it's solved, and then we're told how the story ends. So let's look at this passage together. My new second grade pal, and some of you might have seen this already together. That's okay. It's just a review for us. So my new second grade pal. It was Nicole's first day at Sunshine Elementary School. She wasn't sure if she was going to make any new friends. As she walked into the front office doors, she looked around and saw nice secretaries and colored walls. The new school looked pretty. She was still nervous about making new friends, though. The principal walked Nicole down to her class. She was in Miss Roberts' second grade class. Miss Roberts put Nicole in a seat in the middle of the classroom. Nicole looked around at all the students doing their math worksheet. A couple of the students smiled at her and made her feel comfortable. After math, it was time for recess. This made Nicole really nervous. All the kids ran towards the playground. A little girl with blonde hair stood next to Nicole. She said her name was Missy and she was new this year too. She said they could be best buddies and play every day. Nicole was very happy that Missy introduced herself. She couldn't wait to meet even more friends. All right. So let's see if we can identify together the characters and the setting of this story. So our main character is a girl named Nicole, and it's her first day at school. So Nicole is our main character, and then later on we meet her teacher, Miss Roberts, and a friend named Missy. But Nicole is our main character here. Our setting, or where the story takes place, is Sunshine Elementary School. What's the problem here? What is the problem in our story? What's gone wrong, or what is challenging Nicole, our main character? I think we could say our problem is she was nervous about making new friends. She was worried that she wouldn't have any friends at her new school. And then the problem is kind of solved at the end at recess when she meets Missy. And Missy says, hey, I was new this year too, and I would love to be best friends with you and we can play together every day. So her problem is solved. She was worried about not making friends, but then she does make friends there at the end. Okay, so let's go through and see if we can jot down a couple of ideas to summarize or just give some ideas about the beginning, middle, and end of this passage. So I'm going to stop excuse me, my video for a second. So I can go into draw mode, and hopefully I don't freeze up. It's been funky lately and it's been freezing up a little bit on me, but we're going to try to make the best of it. All right. So in the beginning of the story, remember we said that in the beginning of the story, typically the author is introducing us to the character in the setting. So this very first sentence here says it was Nicole's first day at Sunshine Elementary School. So we learn who our character is and what our setting is. I'm going to switch to green so I can kind of match my text evidence here. So beginning, Nicole is new at Sunshine Elementary. Again, we've just learned our character and our setting. Typically, that's what the author uses the beginning of the story for. And then in the middle of the story, we learn usually what the problem is and some of the details about it. And here we see she's going into school. She looks around. It looks great. But she was still nervous about making new friends. So in the middle, we are learning her problem. So our problem is Nicole is worried about making new friends. That's our problem. Remember, we get the problem normally in the middle of the story and then some details to tell us more about that. So she's nervous about making new friends. It talks about how she looks around the room and she sees people, they're smiling at her, they make her feel comfortable. But then her problem is truly solved at the end of the story when she meets who? A little girl with blonde hair stood next to Nicole. She said her name was Missy and she was new this year. She said she could be best buddies and play every day. So how was her problem solved at the end? Nicole and Missy become new best friends. All right, so just to review, the beginning of the story again is where we typically meet our characters and find out the setting. So we've got Nicole as our character, main character at Sunshine Elementary School. She's new there. In the middle, we found our problem, which was she was nervous or worried about making new friends. And then at the end, our problem is solved. She meets Missy, and Nicole and Missy become new best friends. Nothing to worry about. Problem solved. All right? All right, good job, guys. So now what you're going to do is on Seesaw, you're going to have a passage that's similar to the one we just read, but it's called School at Night. And you're going to have to highlight and find the beginning, the middle, and the end. So just like we just did, how we put one sentence to describe the key detail of the beginning, one sentence to describe the key detail of the middle, and one sentence to describe the key detail at the end of the text. That's what you're going to do here. And it's a pretty short story, so you shouldn't have much trouble. Would be awesome if you highlighted to show your evidence for the beginning, middle, and end. And then I recommend on Seesaw, again, pressing that T button to create a text label to be able to type your answer down in there. I think that's going to be a little easier than using your stylus or a finger. It's totally up to you. But yeah, that's our practice for today. If you need to go back in this video and review beginning, middle, and end, you always can. Because remember, the beginning, we're looking for the characters in the setting. In the middle, we find that problem. And at the end, we kind of wrap up the problem to see how it is solved. So I told you it wasn't too long today. Hopefully you guys have plenty of time to do your art, music, PE, library, all those activities as well. So hop on over to Seesaw, get that activity done. And tomorrow is Wednesday. It's our grammar day. We're going to be looking at adjectives together. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.